Cindy's Library. I am Cindy, and today we are doing Tolkien Talk. So we have already done most of Tolkien's minor works and one of his major works, and a scholarly item, and a couple poems. Well, today we are going to do another poem, another one of my favorites. This is Light as Leaf on Lindon Tree. Now, to give some background on this, this is well, there's some evidence that was actually inspired by the lays of of uh, Brittany, yeah, France, and it got transformed into a story, well, a poem really, about Beren and Luthien. But there's some evidence that originally it had nothing to do with Beren and Luthien. Although if you know anything about French lays, there's plenty of romance with a capital R in them, so very fitting as far as that goes. But it's interesting that Tolkien started an alliterative version called The Lay of the Children of Hurin, which, like Beren and Luthien, is another story from the First Age. But why he inserts Beren and Luthien into a story about the children of Hurin, well, that is a very good question, but it's interesting that he does that. Oh, anyway, not inappropriate that Beren and Luthien should be referenced in the Children of Hurin at some point. I mean, the Children of Hurin is entirely depressing, so you need another tone in it somehow, somewhere. But it is a very, very beautiful poem. So this is it. The grass was very long and thin, the leaves of many years lay thick, the old tree roots wound out and in, and the early moon was glimmering. There went her white feet lilting quick, and Dairon's flute did bubble thin, and 'neath the hemlock umbels thick Tinuviel danced a shimmering. The pale moss slumbered noiselessly, and daylight died among the leaves, as Beren from the wild country came thither wayworn sorrowing. He peered between the hemlock sheaves, and watched in wonder noiselessly her dancing through the moonlit leaves, and ghostly moss following. The magic took his weary feet, and he forgot his loneliness, and out he danced unheeding fleet, where the moonbeams were a-glistening. Through the tangled woods of Elfiness they fled on nimble fairy feet, left him to his loneliness in the silent forest, listening, still hearkening for the imagined sound of lissom feet upon the leaves, for music welling underground in dim lit caves of Doriath. But withered are the hemlock sheaves, and one by one, with mournful sound, whispering fall the beechen leaves in the dying woods of Doriath. He sought her wandering near and far, where the leaves of one more year were strewn. By winter moon and frosty star, with shaken light a-shivering, he found her 'neath a misty moon, a silver wraith that danced afar, and in the mist beneath her feet were strewn in moonlight palely quivering. She danced upon a hillock green, whose grass unfaded kissed her feet, while Dairon's fingers played unseen o'er his magic flute a-flickering. And out he danced unheeding fleet, the moonlight to the hillock green, no impress found he of her feet that fled him swiftly flickering. And longing filled his voice that called Tinuviel, Tinuviel, and longing sped his feet enthralled behind her wayward shimmering. She heard as echo of a spell its lonely voice that longing called, Tinuviel, Tinuviel, one moment paused she glimmering. And Beren caught the elven maid and kissed her trembling starlit eyes, to Nubiel whom love delayed in the woods of evening morrowless, till moonlight and till music dies, danced in the starlight of her eyes in the forest singing sorrowless. Wherever grass is long and thin, and leaves of countless years lie thick, and ancient roots wind out and in, as once they did in Doriath, shall go their white feet lilting quick, but never Dairon's music thin be heard beneath the hemlock stick since Beren came to Doriath. So that is the meeting of Beren, a mortal man, and Luthien Tinuviel, the daughter of an elven king. And one of the most remarkable things about it is in a fairy story, when a mortal finds his way into fairy one way or another, if it's the mortal that gets entrapped by the fairy, usually the fairy queen. But in this case, it is completely the opposite. Not that anyone's really doing trapping here, per se, I should say enchanting. But Beren is first enchanted by Luthien, clear enough, but then at the end, he ends up enchanting her, and thus are their fates bound together. And so, wonderful story, wonderful poem. We'll talk more about Beren and Luthien later, no doubt. But I thought I would share that with you today for this month's Tolkien Talk. Until next time, I hope we all stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much for stopping by, and happy reading.